Morning, folks. Your intrepid Boer War reporter Cherry Carter coming at you from New Norfolk, down on the Derwent River, and much refreshed today. I've got to say, I went to Ding Ding's last night for Chinese. I had the Szechuan beef with combination fried rice. It was superb, and I emptied the plate. Well, they were generous portions, and I knocked them both off. I was that hungry, and then I slept like the dead last night. Woke up 3 or 4 times to go to the toilet and had a drink of water every time I got up. I think I was dehydrated yesterday, and I think whatever I inhaled in the swag in Waratah had got up my beak. So I might have dodged a bullet, but we'll see. But yeah, point being, I'm feeling a lot better today, feeling a bit more perky. I'm going to go across to Hobart and get a motel. It'll be motels from here on. Waratah, I found out, somebody messaged me on Facebook, said Waratah is the coldest place in Tasmania. So that put an end to my swag adventure. Look, I could have handled the cold, because the doona and that I had in my swag, it was 5 degrees when I woke up yesterday in Waratah. My doona and that kept me really warm. I could have handled the cold, but as I said, I couldn't handle the rain. And I don't know what I'm going to do with the swag. I'm going to have to get it out of the boot today and get it in the sun somehow, air it out a bit. But the top temperature is only going to be 14, so it's not like I'm getting a nice warm sunny day to, you know, to dry it out. Anyway, we'll sort that out. It always works out okay. I thought I'd show you guys something that I often find out after we do the monuments, is where they used to stand. I think almost every one of them I've ever documented. Hold on. Okay. Take 2 because the phone rang unusually. That was a friend from Tasmania, or who grew up in Tasmania in Launceston. So she gave me the lowdown on a few tips for travelling Tasmania, all of which I'd conveniently ignored, being one who struggles to take sound advice. But it's all good. I just think now it was folly to bring the swag over. But we've been through that. So anyway, what I'm going to do, I started to tell you guys, is something that I've missed out on doing on almost all the Boer War monuments. In fact, I think every monument I've seen to the Boer War, since I've been doing this in the last few years, they've all been moved closer to council chambers or to town halls, to more prominent places, because where they were put originally, they were neglected and vandalized, and so it is with this monument in New Norfolk that we saw yesterday. So in the clip, when I looked at the monument, there was like a ring on a bit of chain, and I wondered what it was. I asked in the video, I wonder what this is for. Well, it's for a cup. There used to be a cup attached to that, so you could have a drink of water from the Boer War monument. And that monument used to be here. I wonder if we could see any evidence of it. It was on the corner of High Street and Stephen Street, until it was moved in the 1930s, because in the article that I'm going to read you guys, or show you guys, it was mentioned that it had fallen into disrepair. And look at this, and low. I wondered if we'd be able to find any evidence of it. What about that, eh? What about that? I reckon that's where it stood. I don't know what's happened here, whether they've turned it over, getting it out to move it. That's a bit of stick. But yeah, I reckon it stood there before they moved it. That's interesting. So this used to be, this park was where people kept their sheep. Maybe they held them here till they got put on the train or sent to Hobart for, you know, abattoirs or something. But the sheepdogs used to come and get a drink from the fountain there. And in the article it said that it had fallen into disrepair, so. But there's some interesting stuff here. One of my heroes as a kid, and he still sort of is, was the Hawthorn full forward, Peter Hudson. I found out yesterday as I came into town that he's from New Norfolk, and just as I was sitting in my car, I saw this bronze statue of a guy kicking a footy, and it looks like Pete, and I can already see the number 26 I think he is on his jumper. Yeah, number 26. He was amazing. He matched the AFL, VFL.
Hawkins to Hudson. Hudson running into goal. And good try.
Long will be the arguments about who is the best full forward of all time, but featured in every one of them will be the name Peter Hudson.
Hudson comes out to meet it. Oh, almost got the trip. Hudson's still in there. Through comes Minot. Taken here and hand passed further downfield. Hudson is still going. Hudson straight as he kicks.
In just 129 games for Hawthorn in an injury-broken career between 1967 and 1977, Hudson booted 727 goals. That's an average of 5.59 per game.
Goal kicking record for a season, 150 goals. He would have broken the record, except Cowboy Neil, the St Kilda backman, split his ear in the 1971 grand final. And old Pete had the wobbles, like he never missed. And he had a couple of opportunities to break the goal kicking record. He missed them, which is unbelievable. So there he is. He had a real strange technique. He sort of hunched right over the ball. He liked to drop it real close to his boot, so he reckoned there was less chance of it going astray. But an incredible footballer. So I'm glad I saw this. Peter Hudson, goal-kicking marvel in the golden era. The lanky kid. I had a chance to get his autograph sort of about 6 months ago, or a little more. I sent an email to the Hawthorn Football Club. I sent a picture of me in my Hawthorn footy jumper as a kid. And asked if they could get Peter's autograph for me, and they said, yeah, just send us a photo, we'll get him to autograph it. And I couldn't find a photograph I liked. And the ones available online, they're all small. You can't like blow them up because of the pixelation. And then I met, I've got a friend, Tamara. Her dad played in the 1971 grand final. And he knows Peter Hudson, so he was going to get me an autograph. But once again, he said, well, send me a picture and I'll get it signed for you. And I can't find a picture I like. That's Cowboy Neil there. He's the one who split his ear. And in today's game, you'd be taken off with concussion, but he played through with that split ear. But yeah, he was wobbly. There he is. Oh no, that's a different photo. Yeah, look at that. What would you do if Jesus came to Hawthorn? Move Peter Hudson to centre half forward. Yeah, great. All right. Okay, so that was interesting. Peter Hudson, one of my heroes, as I said, as a kid. Although I did get Mum to put number 5 on my Hawthorn footy jumper, which was Peter Crimmins. I loved him as well. I was the only one who went for Hawthorn in my family. Everybody else was Collingwood or St Kilda. and I can't really remember why I went for hawthorn. I think I liked the colours. I wanted to be a bit different. That's me to a T. I wonder if this is one of these famous Tasmanian pines. Anyway, there's a thing on the gardens here, so let's have a look if there's any mention of the monument that was here. Arthur Square. So this is Arthur Square, it would seem. Here we go. Troops have paraded, trained, marched and farewelled friends and family on Arthur Square many times. Soldiers of the Colonial Corps, the 40th Derwent, went for the Boer War from here. Yeah, that's interesting. They've got like a cenotaph thing in the middle. I wonder if it's where they celebrate their Anzac Day. Maybe. Big trees around me, big willow trees. Unusual structure. Local slate or rock. Don't quite know what it means, but you can see the park is oriented to come here. I don't see any wreaths of flowers or anything for Anzac Day. So, gee, you don't see these anymore. Look at that. You can see the maker. That'll be gone in an hour in South Africa. They'd have it unbolted and taken down to the scrapyard for metal. So yeah, no explanation of what this is, but I guess it's a place for reflection because there's benches there. Well, it's getting a little chilly now. I'll get back to the car, and we might pop over to the Oval where Peter Hudson played as a kid. He mentions on that board they lived just behind the what's it called, the Bosons, I think, football oval. And he used to slip over the fence, go and play footy. So we'll go and have a look at that because I'm not very far from Hobart, and to be honest, there's not a lot of stuff to see between here and there for me. I think I'm going to be struggling to fill in time for the rest of the week while I'm here, but you can see there would have been plaques or something. I've removed the wording from these, right? They've removed all, even over there, that plinth has no wording on it. It's like they've removed whatever it was celebrating. Somewhat of a distraction from my stated objectives, which was Boer War stuff. Just looking at the mist rolling in on those hills just above the town of New Norfolk. We're in a bit of a valley here. with the magnificent Derwent River crashing through town. But I came to this ground because this is the ground where Peter Hudson, AFL, VFL kicking legend, equalled the goal kicking record of 150 goals in a season, kicked a lazy 10 for his first outing with Hawthorn, my team, the yellow and the brown, or gold they call the yellow. But in his biography, he talks about his house backed onto the oval, and the only houses that would fit that description are along that line there. There's an old railway track there. We're going to have a look what that's about. But anyway, this is his home ground as a kid. He's remembered. We just saw that we saw the bronze statue of him in the park I was just in, and there was a couple of information boards on him, his time in Tasmania playing football as a state rep as well, and then his time in Hawthorn. I mean, they flew this guy into a game on a helicopter. Hawthorn did one time. And they wanted him so badly.
All of the Victorian League's fullbacks conceded a big total to Hudson at one time or another. From his 4 goals in his debut against the rugged West Lofts from Carlton, or the time he kicked 16 goals in his best ever effort.
Honestly, how'd you get a shot of that?
The figures tell the story for Peter Hudson. 125 goals in 1968, 120 in 1969, 146 goals in 1970, and equalling Bob Pratt's record of 150 in 1971. The strength of feeling best summed up when a sign outside a church in Hawthorn read, "What would you do if Jesus Christ came to Hawthorn?" Scrawled underneath was "Move Peter Hudson to centre half forward."
He used to run pubs. I don't know if they were here in New Norfolk, but he used to run a pub down here. This is all new. This look like club rooms. Buddy, it'd be cold here in winter, wouldn't it? Hey? I mean, that ground looks beautiful now. But back in the day when you see the old film footage of even the VFL, like the centre was like a quagmire of mud. I played one season of football and it was dismal. Both my performance and the conditions we played in and trained in. It was under 17s. I did it mainly because my sister said, you'll never last, you'll never make it through the season. And I was determined to prove her wrong. But yeah, it was hard. Looks like they're redoing the whole grandstand over there as well. Alright, I'll switch her off for the moment. Just a line to let you know that I've come through my first engagement scatheless. We left here about 1100 strong on the 1st. Our force made up of Paget's Horse, Kimberley Light Horse, Yeomanry and New South Wales Bushmen, with 6 15-pounder guns, 4 pom-poms and 2 Maxims. We travelled out the first day to Ottershoop, a small Transvaal township about 18 miles from here. The Transvaal border is about 9 miles, garrisoned by about 300 South Australians. We then trekked on to Zeerust, a nicely laid out town held by the British, where there was a depot for stores, the transport of same from Mafeking being done by traction trains. From there we journeyed 24 miles on towards Rustenburg to a place called Marico. Here we left our transports in charge of a convoy of 300. Taking 2 days' rations without clothing, we trekked another 20 miles to where we knew the enemy were, remaining on guard all night and standing to arms from 3:30 to daylight. When we had started on, we had scarcely got a couple of miles when our scouts were fired on, and it was not many minutes before we were all in action. We, the scouts, were supporting the big guns and were barely in position before the Boer shells began to fall about us. When at last we were forced to retire, we got a perfect hailstorm of bullets. But fortunately we all escaped, though there were few deaths and a number missing at the finish. We had the enemy on 3 sides of us, and only for De La Rey being unable to get up in time, we had a very fair prospect of being surrounded. We were compelled to retreat to the camp, which we left in the morning, and only got there and were about to outspan when we were again attacked. We then put to and then trekked back to Marico, arriving there at 5 in the morning. At about midday we were again attacked. This time we were able to drive the enemy off, but not before they had captured 4 of our wagons, which were coming on to us under a convoy of 30 Tasmanians, one of whom was killed and a number wounded. We then travelled on to Zeerust, where we arrived at 5 in the morning, leaving again at 10, a number of townspeople leaving all and accompanying us, together with the garrison. We travelled on to Ottershoop, from whence the garrison accompanied us, leaving both Zeerust and Ottershoop to the Boers. We arrived here yesterday. Hi folks, Trooper Carter, Tasmanian Imperial Bushman, Teddy Carter, and I'm back, baby, bounced back. So I'm at this campsite. I thought I'd written off the swag, everything got wet, but just outside of Hobart in Glenorchy, and just about 5 kilometres up the highway was this big park next to the Derwent River. There was a skate ramp, there was people walking their dog, swings and all that. But it was quite sunny. It's got overcast now, but it was quite sunny for a couple of hours. I sat and read my book, and I got everything out. I got the mattress, put it on the roof of the car. I spread the canvas out. It all got dry. My towel's dry. So I thought, why go and spend the money in a motel again if I could get a campsite? So I looked up, and this is the Hobart campgrounds. Right, now you can, the grassy areas are for tents. You're all along there, all along here. The only person camping is this white van, and she puts me right next to him. He's 240. She put me in campsite 241, right next to the guy. I mean, for fair sake. So I rang her at the front desk and haggled a bit. Apparently, she kept telling me that there's workmen need to get through these gates. The gates are all up because they need work access. Well, there's gates over there as well. And they're not going to be able to drive through that railing. But, you don't want to argue with them. I said I'd come and get my money back, but in the end I said, well, look, I'll camp here and I'll be out by 7. They're not going to be here by 7, and I'll sort it out, tomorrow. I booked for 2 nights, but $35 a night, that saved me heaps on a motel, because there's nothing in a motel apart from the TV, which I really need or want. I think I'm going to be happy here, and I can watch the construction site over there. All right. Hi guys, you wouldn't expect a Boer War site here. It's a little dead-end street. Houses are all cramped in. Sort of looks like government housing, to be honest. We're in Glenorchy, and for the life of me you wouldn't think there'd be anything here. related to the Boers, but a friend sent me this link, and here's a guy walking his vacuum cleaner. Should I make a crack or not? Well, the site said 25 Regina. Which is that house. But it's a tree. It's a Boer War tree. Let's have a look if there's a little park here. If there's any markings or anything. Very strange. So you're looking at a tree, or you're looking for a tree that's 120 years old. Has this got a marking at all? No. Well, that's real curious. I'll read out and I'll get some pictures off the website. Maybe they destroyed the tree, but the house doesn't look that new. I reckon this might be something, but there's no signage. That's a bit of a mystery. So this is Glenorchy. Down there is the shops and all that. I didn't even know Glenorchy existed. Why would I? That's fascinating. Well, this is new. These units are new. So maybe the tree was here and they knocked it down for the units. That would make sense, because it's next to the actual number 25, so, and this house looks older than sort of a few years ago. Okay guys, this is dedication. I'm in the main street of Glenorchy. I studied the photograph of the tree minutely, and I saw the image of a push bike in the background. So I don't know why they have it labelled as Regina Street, because it's not. It's in the main street of Glenorchy. Over there is a tree which has got fencing around it. That was an early candidate, but that's going to be your Gallipoli pine, your lone pine. Oh, sorry. And but I reckon we found her. She's definitely 120 years old, 126 years old. She's stretching right out onto the road. She's magnificent. I think it's a peppercorn maybe. Oh, it's a big peppercorn. So yeah, take back the observation that they'd ripped it out to build those new units on Regina. Nothing to do with that. Here we go. So it's believed that the California pepper tree was planted around the turn of the century. Anecdotal evidence suggests the tree may have been planted to commemorate local soldiers who fought in the Boer War. You know, so it's only anecdotal. Look at the size of the trunk. And that's what I saw, that seat, and I could just make out a push bike I thought it was like a mural on the wall, but no. Look, they've had to support the old girl. You know, if trees have gender, but they've had to support her. She's the weight of her limbs would snap off. Well, that's a bonus, because yeah, it's not it wasn't on my list of things to see. So I'm pretty happy about that. Got a bit of a bonus content for you. We think it was planted to commemorate the guys that served in the Boer War, but that's anecdotal, so don't sue me. I think Glenorchy must be like an outer satellite town attached to Hobart. So yeah, it's where I'll be staying tonight anyway, is in Glenorchy, and there's lots of things along here. I can get some food tonight, I guess. Wouldn't mind the pizza, a pizza pie. Alright, happy days.